So you want to learn how to customize shoes? Let's go. Hello everybody, I am Britt with Lick Kicks by Britt, and today I am going to be answering the question that I am asked the most when it comes to customizing shoes, and that is, what do I need to get started? One of the things that I always tend to tell people whenever they're getting started on customizing shoes is never, ever, ever start with a brand new pair of shoes. That is first and foremost, because you don't want to put paint on a shoe that's brand new that you paid $100 for, and it looks kind of weird and wonky, right? Because you weren't able to prep the shoe properly. So basically, everything that I'm going to be showing you today is what you need not only to paint the shoe, but to also prep the shoe to make sure that the paint is able to like really stick on the shoe and it be wearable, and that you can actually wear it outside the house and the paint not crack when you take your first step. Because funny story, when I first customized my first shoe, okay, so before I even tell the story, let me preface this by saying that I was never a sneaker wearer, right? I wore Chucks all the time, and that was pretty much my extent of wearing sneakers or tennis shoes, right? So one day I went in Foot Locker and there was a pair of Air Max 90s that I now know to be like the Air Max 90 Crimson. But I didn't know that at the time, you know what I'm saying? And they were a pair of black, red, white, and yellow Air Max. And I liked them. They were $40. But I said to myself, everything that's white on this shoe would look better if it was gray. So I came up with the bright idea of just going ahead and getting the $40 pair of shoes. And I went to Michael's and got a gray acrylic paint and some paintbrushes or whatever. I went home and I painted everything on the shoe that was gray, that was white. I painted it gray. And they were cute. You know what I'm saying? I put that bad boy on my foot and took a step, and all of that paint just crumbled right off. And I went to the internet because I'm thinking to myself, there's gotta be a way, right? Like, I cannot possibly be the first person that wanted to put paint on a shoe because they didn't necessarily like the colorway that was presented, and they wanted to make like just a small tweak to make it exactly the way that they wanted to make it. And so once I did that Google, it opened up a world to me that I didn't even know existed. I didn't even know that shoe customization was a thing. And when I found out that there was a thing called leather paint, right? Like, the paint that I used was acrylic paint. Leather paint is also acrylic paint, but it's a different type of paint. It has this additive that makes it more flexible, that allows, you know, the paint to bend with the natural bends of shoes. That changed my life. That changed my life. And so with that being said, let's go through what you need to start customizing shoes. All right, so I am not only going to let you know what it is that you need, but I'm going to tell you exactly why you need it, okay? And the first thing, obviously, you're going to need your shoe. I just feel like I should say that because, you know, I might go through this list and at the end of it, people be like, well, she didn't even have shoes. So I just wanted to make sure that I put this in the video, okay? Just so that I make sure that I got everything covered, okay? The second thing you're gonna need is acetone, all right? And the reason why you're gonna need acetone is because typically with leather shoes, they come with this factory coating on it. And if you try to paint on top of that, the paint does this really weird spreading thing. If you've ever painted shoes without treating it with acetone first, you know exactly what I mean. And when you get started, if you want to test that theory before, just to see if it actually makes a difference, and I actually might make a video of why certain things that you do when you prep shoes make a difference than if you don't do it. I'll probably make a video on that too, because I really want people to understand how important it is to prep your shoe before actually doing a customization on it. But in with your acetone, Also, make sure you have cotton balls, okay? And you don't have to go get no special cotton balls. You see that equate on there. Just go get you a bag of $1 cotton balls. It don't have to be anything special, all right? All right. Now, the next thing that I'm about to show you may not necessarily make sense when you see it, but in practice, I promise you, it makes so much of a difference. But you're gonna need sandpaper. You're gonna need a 400, you're gonna need an 800, and you're gonna need 1,000 grit. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that 400 first, a piece that's like about this size. You don't need the whole sheet, a piece this size, and you're gonna rough up the surface of this leather, right? And you only need this for like or not this, but this. You only need this for the leather surfaces. Anything else that you decide to paint will be prepped a different way or using a different additive or something like that. But this is specifically for leather shoes. But yeah, you're gonna do the sandpaper, rough up that surface, because the leather will allow that paint to bind on it a whole lot easier on that rough surface. Similar to if you've ever like restored wood or something like that. Like this table actually that I restored this table that you cannot see. I had to sand it first and then stain it. I couldn't just paint over it. I mean, I could have just painted over it, but again, it makes it last a little longer if you put in the actual prep work. You know what I mean? Right? So after you do the 400, do the 800, and then you're going to do the 1,000. And what that pretty much does, it allows it to, you know, get back to this smooth look while still having that abrasive surface that the paint can stick onto. All right, next thing you're going to need, you want to make sure that you have your paint brushes, and a palette, right? When I say your paint, please, please, please make sure that you are using leather paint. Now I personally use Angelus paint, but there are other brands out there. I paint with Angelus because that's the first brand that I came across, but they also have an array of colors. I think I have over 200 colors. If not, I don't think I have them all, but I am close to having them all. Now, as far as paintbrushes go, I do have my favorite. This one right here, it's a brand new one. So yeah, no, it don't have no paint on it. It's just fresh out the box. So this shape here is a flat shaper. This is what I use probably 90% of the time of when I'm doing a shoe customization, right? It's the perfect size. Let me demonstrate. It's the perfect size here. It's not too big. I can get as much coverage with this brush as I want to. And this is a size 6 flat, my favorite. My second that I use is this one right here. It's not quite a detail brush. I mean, I guess some people would call it a detail brush, but what I consider the detail brush is one that's like a pin thin. Like if I wanted to write something in cursive on paint, I would use that one. And I actually don't have it around here, but you'll see it eventually. And I mentioned a palette. Now, full disclosure, I actually don't have a palette, but there's a reason for that. I actually like to use these. Yep, that's exactly what it is. It's a mouthwash cup. I like to put my paint in here because whenever I mix it, you know, I like for it to like not be flat. You know what I'm saying? So I like to mix my paint in little cups, and when I'm done, I can just toss it. My issue with palettes are, and I mean, I guess most people deal with it. I just don't like to, but the paint gets stuck on the palette. And I have this weird thing about colors mixing and putting colors in old color pots. It's just weird to me. So I just use mouthwash cups all the time. And again, great value. It ain't got to be nothing special, you know, but you do what works best for you. If you like a palette, get a palette. If you like the cups, get a cup. If you want to use a paper plate, you can use a paper plate. All of that works. Whatever you have, it's not necessary for you to go out and buy something right now, you're already going to have to buy leather paint, right? You don't have to get the most expensive brushes. Eventually, you'll realize that the more expensive brushes do tend to paint better. But when you starting out, you just go get you a little $10 multi-pack of brushes. Okay, I promise you it'll work. And yeah, last thing you're gonna need, toothpicks. This one bad boy is gonna be your best friend, okay? Because when you starting out with customizing shoes and you don't have that steady hand yet, you're gonna get paint on your rubber surface, you know? I've done it enough to where when I paint, I can get close here, right? Without getting paint on this surface, on this rubber surface. But guess what? Even sometimes I still get paint on there. And what do? I take this toothpick, y'all, after the paint is dry, okay? Because if you do it while the paint is wet, it ain't gonna do nothing but spread around and become a mess. But you just gonna scratch that paint off. You're just gonna scratch it. It comes off so easy, I promise you. You know, and with that being said, those are all of the materials you need in order to start customizing your shoes. I'm going to list them all right here, okay? And if you have any questions, please comment and I will answer your questions in the next video. And remember, please like, share, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank y'all and have a great day.